Welcome to Postcolonial Space. I'm Masood Raja, and today I'll briefly talk about a video that I had posted about 3 days ago under the title of How the Current Gaza Genocide Has Started Reshaping Our Perceptions of Israel. You can watch the video in your own time. I'll post a link in the description. Now, the purpose of today's video, first of all, is to thank all of you who have watched the video and sent me your words of support, your feelings of solidarity with the Palestinian people in Gaza. I have so far approved about 400 comments and responded to them. There are some comments that I have not responded to because I don't agree either with the vocabulary used or the tone in the comments, but I thought it appropriate to have them out in the world so that people can see how the Gaza genocide is mobilizing people's passions. There are some comments that I have not made public because they are hate comments and they are directed either at me, at my person, or what I'm saying. And I don't feel the need to add them under the video because they add nothing other than hate under that video. But I would like to address some of them here so that, people who want to come back and repost them already know that I have somewhat responded to them. By far, the first comment that sometimes people post is, "It's not a genocide, you are ill-informed," right? There are quite a few things wrong with that. One is that they are automatically assuming who I am and the way I look, of course. To some people, it could come across as if I'm less sophisticated and less informed, right? And hence they can have this mighty opinion about my words and about what I'm saying. But here is the beauty of framing, okay? Framing, the frames, we think in frames, we speak in frames. I have read my George Lakoff, right? So when they come and deny that Gaza is not a genocide, the third word in their denial is already genocide. It is not a genocide. Fourth word, okay. So go ahead, keep denying it, right? The facts are out there in the world. The number of children killed and being killed, the number of people being starved, the number of people being dislocated. All of these are signs of a planned and executed genocide by a military force. You can call it whatever you want. I will call it a genocide. There are people who have also come on my channel, and especially under this video, and who have doubted my credentials. One of them asked me, "Oh, are you really a doctor?" Right, okay, fine, I don't have to prove it to you. Just put my name in Google and see what comes up. I have no burden of proving whether I am knowledgeable or not, or whether I am who I claim to be, because my whole output as a scholar and as a public intellectual is a matter of public record. You can watch it. You can see what I've done in the last 22 years. Nothing is hidden. So be my guest, do some research. Then there are people who want to tell me, "You're not looking at the context. Hamas killed people too." Of course I'm aware of that. I have condemned it openly. But you are not looking at the context before that. There was no peace. Even a week before Hamas did their horrendous attack, Gaza was being bombed. Gaza, technically, is the world's largest prison. These are not my words. These are words from some really, really established scholars. It has a 24-foot wall that surrounds it with only two gates, with over 2 million people who have made a life there. But another thing that we need to answer to these people who say, well, who started it, right? Is that okay if Hamas did something terrible? Does that mean that a country, Israel, that claims to be civilized, that claims to be the only democracy, does that mean that they can use their armed forces increasingly with the same brutality and the same disregard for life? And does that make it right? I mean, we have a nation with the most sophisticated weapon systems in the world, with a trained, somewhat conscripted, but trained army invading a civilian population, okay, fighting against Hamas, indiscriminately killing civilians, bombing hospitals, universities, schools, starving children. How is that right, despite what Hamas did? Another comment that occasionally comes is they started the war. Now they have to wait for the end. I don't even know what they is in that sentence. Did the children in the hospitals start the war? Did the women start the war? And if Hamas did start the war, what gives Israel the right to collectively punish 2 million people? So these are some of the responses off the cuff that I have for these people. But I stand firm in my belief that people like me, I am nobody, right? I used to be a professor. I'm no longer a professor. I have no power. But people who care, people of conscience, we should continue critiquing Israeli actions. The atrocities committed by Hamas or whatever are already amply covered. But the atrocities committed by the state of Israel are not amply covered in the mainstream media. And even if they are covered, they are just like one puff piece here and there, and then they move on to rationalizing the Israeli narrative. So it's imperative for people like us, who may have a little bit of knowledge and a small platform like this, to continuously keep sharing what I believe, what we think about, and where we stand. That is important. And here's why it is important. Someone insignificant as me, I have no illusions about my importance. If my words are troubling to these people and are forcing them into a defensive response, think about it. If major scholars and critics started doing that, and they are already doing it, okay? There are people who have spoken for decades against what Israel is doing. So overall, I think what we are doing in the streets, the protests, the asking of questions of our representatives, the openly naming of the constituencies who fund Israeli propaganda, I think this is something powerful. And it is having an impact because we are no longer divided. It's not all Arabs doing it. It's not all Palestinians doing it. It's Palestinians, Arabs, Jewish people themselves, young people, progressives, African Americans, minorities, Latinos. We have become a constituency for justice and peace. And we are speaking never for Palestine, because Palestinians can speak for themselves, but with Palestine in solidarity. And I think that is important and crucial. Yes, at times we'll feel powerless, right? At times it would seem futile. because we are up against powerful forces, military, political, agenda-setting forces. These are powerful institutions, the state of America, the state of Israel, right? And then all those who support them. These are powerful constituencies. We do not have a corresponding locus of power. Our power is in coming together digitally, materially in the world, and constantly keep speaking about the genocide, about what's happening in Gaza, and constantly keep asking for a permanent ceasefire and a permanent just solution so that the Palestinians can have their autonomous home and live in dignity and peace. So once again, thank you all so much for your support. I'm really grateful, and your support amplifies my words and helps me reach more people. Please remember, it's not about me. I have never in my entire life sought public recognition, power, or a pulpit, but I've always spoken to the best of my abilities, truth to power, and I have never sold my voice or my pen to the powerful, and I will never do that. But stay with me. Let's help each other. Let's keep talking about the murder of Palestinians at the hand of Israeli armed forces. Let's keep talking about the atrocities that are being committed. Let's keep this memory alive until there is justice and peace for Gaza and for Palestinians. Thank you. Stay safe. Take care of each other. And as always, from me to you, peace and love.